Well, Bethesda is losing control over their IPs. I am probably not the first person to break this news to you. But why did I say well? Because I predicted it 2 years ago. For example, in this Test 6 hot takes and later on in this video, Oblivion Remaster changed everything. You can check those videos out to confirm what I said. But for now, if you want to know the news 2 years before they break, subscribe to my channel. Now let's go into details and discuss what happened, what does it mean and what will happen in the future. So, the source of this news is this article that says that Xbox is giving Obsidian to develop a new Fallout game. But we will talk about Obsidian a little bit later. For now, let's talk about what does it mean. Well, first of all, a brief history. So, Bethesda has been developing the Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games. They also owned a couple of good IPs, but Fallout and the Elder Scrolls games they were developing. Then Xbox bought them. Like, they're not independent anymore. It was bought for $7.5 billion, billion with a B. But a lot of people, including Bethesda I think, were hoping that nothing will change. They were wrong. First, they lost Oblivion Remake. But okay, some may say it was planned beforehand, so it is not a big deal. Then we also know from the same documents that leaked Oblivion Remaster that Fallout 3 Remaster is also a thing. Again, some may say it was pre-planned, it doesn't matter. Then what about this new Fallout game that goes to Obsidian? You may think, maybe it is Fallout 3 Remaster, but that game should have been in development for years now. It doesn't make sense. Some may think, maybe it is Fallout New Vegas Remaster, which I will discuss a little later, but even if it is still bad for Bethesda. It is basically a Pandora box, it is already opened. And Bethesda Games is not untouchable anymore.
Things have changed. I can touch you now.
Okay, so more and more Bethesda games are going to third-party studios. So what's going on? Well, Bethesda's laziness and inability to create good games finally caught up with them. The quality of Bethesda games have been declining since 2011, since Skyrim. But if I'm to be more objective, then probably since Oblivion, since 2006. Yes, Skyrim was technologically better, but the quality of exploration, quest design, writing and how all elements of the game work together was much worse in Skyrim. And Xbox sees it. Namely, the new CEO of Xbox, Asha Sharman. She is much more involved in the affairs of the company. Now, don't get me wrong, it was inevitable. That was always gonna happen. Again, I talked about it 2 years ago, the coming of Asha just accelerated the process. Like, Xbox is in a bad spot, they basically lost the console war, and they have been just throwing money at problems and hope that it will all work out in the end. It didn't. And one of those money throwing was the purchase of Bethesda. So again, Xbox is in a bad spot and they decided finally to act like a business again, instead of a charity like before. So they started looking around and cutting off things that don't make money. And recently they closed a bunch of studios that were developing games that nobody was interested in. But also they started looking at things that could bring money, but currently don't. And Bethesda is such a studio. Xbox realized that Bethesda is an incompetent studio that basically sits on a pile of gold. And to get that pile of gold from below Bethesda, they gotta push Bethesda off that pile. They gotta make the Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games. And Bethesda can't make them fast enough and of a good enough quality, so they gotta strip Bethesda from their ultimate right to their own IPs. You see, gamers don't play Bethesda and they don't play Todd Howard. They wanna play the Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games. It would be one thing if Bethesda would have a reputation and trust like Rockstar Studio, for example. That would make them untouchable. If people would believe and be sure that a Bethesda game is a high-quality game by default, it would be a different matter. But no. Like, best case scenario, Test 6 will be a Skyrim 2 by quality. Nobody believes in a miracle and thinks that it will be better. It really makes me think that it will probably be the last Bethesda game before it gets closed or completely restructured. Like, if they would pull off a great 10 out of 10 game, that will probably save them. But we have no evidence to support that they can create such a game. The dots on the graph of quality of Bethesda games are forming a line, and this line is going downwards, and so may Bethesda. And you may be sad about it, but it is actually a good thing. It doesn't mean that there will not be Fallout games and test games anymore. On the contrary, Xbox didn't buy Bethesda to not make those games, and they didn't buy it to get Todd Howard and other developers. They bought it to get the IPs. So we will see those games being developed, and if they won't be by Bethesda, then they will be developed by other studios. And hey, maybe we'll finally get good quality test games and Fallout games. And if not, Xbox will get it to yet another studio that will do a better job. So the bottom line is that the fate of Bethesda is under an axe. And Asha Sharman showed that she isn't afraid to execute ineffective studios. So far, I like what she's doing with Xbox. She's actually managing stuff and tries to resolve issues that piled up. And to solve the issue of Bethesda is the one that is long overdue. Now about this new Fallout game. Some people say that it is Fallout New Vegas Remaster, because Obsidian actually developed the original Fallout New Vegas. But I don't think so, because there are barely any people left from the original Obsidian that developed New Vegas. So what's the point to give it to them? A remaster can be handled by even not a very renowned studio, like for example Virtuous, who developed Oblivion Remaster. It is still possible that it is New Vegas Remaster, but Obsidian is traditionally considered to be one of the good Xbox studios. It is a studio with a brand name. So I think it is a completely new Fallout game. Do I think it is a good decision to give Obsidian a new Fallout game though? No. Obsidian developed Avowed, the worst game that I have ever played. I've made 2 videos about Avowed, so you can check them out. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Yes, Obsidian kinda got purged. The main game designer and a bunch of other people got fired after the Avowed catastrophe. But I don't think that Obsidian studio is salvageable. I may be wrong, who knows, maybe the new management of the studio will manage, but for now I don't have a reason to believe in them. So if I believe that it was a bad move to give it to Obsidian, do I think that giving Fallout to a third-party studio was a mistake in general? Not at all. Finally things are moving, it is a positive thing anyway. And even if it will not be the best game, it is still better than this constant state of stagnation that Bethesda dragged us in. Even if they mess up, there is a chance for change. A change for a better future with the next game. At least we'll be able to criticize and try fixing it if it will be bad in the future. Because we will have a future. Now, before you go, check out my other videos. For example, a video about Japanese game dev, tops of bosses, an analysis on atmosphere in games, and many more cool topics. Just check them out, you'll find something interesting. But for now, leave a like if you still hear this, subscribe and thank you for watching. See you in my other videos.